Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Mom's Basement. Of course, we have FaZe Banks and the one, the only Trisha Paytas.
Hey.
Did I say your name wrong?
No, that's actually
okay.
good.
You're good. You're good.
Yeah, that was really good.
Yeah, you're in my house right now. This is funny.
It's weird. I didn't know it was like this house. I was like, oh, I feel so awkward. You know when you like bash people and hate on people and then you see them in real life, you're just like, it's kind of awkward, like going into their house, you know? But thanks for having me.
For sure.
No, it was a couple nights ago. I just reached out to Trisha. I was like, listen, we've been going at it forever. Do we actually really hate each other? I don't think so.
I wouldn't say I'm pro Keem. Everyone's like, wow, she's going to go on the, because people knew I was going to come on. I'm not pro Keem. You know, I just like having discussions with people that I disagree with. You know, I think it's interesting because you meet someone on like a human level. It's not that like we're going to be like friends, I don't think, but you never know.
You never know.
You never know.
Frenemies.
I was trying to be besties.
Yeah, that's how I mean, Ethan, I went on his podcast literally because he like called me a whale. He said I looked like a corpse, a wrestler, like all this stuff. And I still went on the podcast and he said he's changed. And I like to think I have something to do with that. You know what I mean? Because he was like an asshole to me. So
No, that show is iconic as much as I hate it and how much shit you guys have like thrown my way. But as soon as it broke up, you don't know how many times people have said, oh, you got to link up with Trisha. You and Trisha should do something because we have a very similar like backstory.
I guess the enemy of your enemies is your friend. Right?
Yeah.
I don't. And I actually would say I'm more pro Ethan than pro Keem, but I still like think I told you on the phone, I still think you and Ethan should do this. Like, I think that like it breaks the internet. It's like when I did Gabby's podcast. Like, I think like in a way, like it's good to talk, like KSI and Logan. I don't know anything about them, but I know when they did it, they got like 10 million views, you know? I
would absolutely love to sit down and talk to Ethan. Like, I have a lot to say, but he would never
pay.
He would never do that.
Wait, why?
He would never in a million years.
Why?
Because Ethan's a pussy. He really is. He really is.
Trisha,
yeah.
Ethan will not put himself in a situation where he knows he's going to lose. All right. This is why the last podcast of Frenemies like never aired, right?
Yeah.
Can I say that publicly? Am I allowed?
No,
okay.
There's an unaired last episode.
Yeah, we shot one more for like closure, and it was like really good because I do feel like I fucked up a lot, but it was like the first time like Ethan like admitted to like screenshotting my text, sending it to girl stuff, and I was like, oh, perfect, like this will give me some redeeming qualities because he admitted in that I never said fire the crew, and I was like, perfect, people are gonna know, they're gonna stop hating on me. But then, yeah, he didn't post it because he's like, well, I don't want more hate to the crew and it's going to stress out this person. And I was just like, you posted all my breakdowns, but you're not going to post this one where I kind of look like at least we're balanced and being in the wrong. Yeah. So I have a little animosity towards him. Like, I still obviously like love Ethan, but like I do have a little bit of that. I get what you're saying.
Well, you have to love him, right? Like you guys are technically family, right?
Yeah. Like, I mean.
Yeah, your man's is sitting right in here with us.
Yeah. Heel's brother.
How are you guys doing?
We're good. Yeah,
awesome.
We're really good. Because, you know, at the end of the day, it is like, to me, especially myself with Ethan, I do think it's like internet stuff, right? Because we don't talk personally. Like, he could reach out and talk to me, you know what I mean? I'm sure he's scared I'm going to like share everything online, but I think that's better to at least like try and talk to someone. Like, when we talked, I felt better. Or when Mike called me about our situation, like, immediately I was like, okay, I don't want to like beef with them because like, I could just sense there was like, Mike being like, I'm not trying to start beef with you. I'm not trying to have like this drama. And I was like, okay, let me just like chill on these people.
Yeah, as hectic as you can come across and be, I feel like you're pretty reasonable. You know what I mean?
Yeah. When someone like wants to talk, I try and be cool with everybody, even if I dislike them, you know, but sometimes it goes wrong. Like the Gabby one went wrong, but sometimes it goes good. Like the Ethan one went great. You know, we had a podcast together. So
I actually like used to hate Gabby, and I recently became friends with her because like she doesn't have any friends, right? And I feel like sometimes the internet is just too mean to her. Like they're over the top. Do you think that it's possible that like maybe she's getting a little bit too much shit?
I'll plead the fifth on this one. I think it's like there's like crossing the line, right? I think you're able to handle crossing the line and you admit you're an asshole. I think she gets it blurred where she like, I don't know if she thinks she's trolling, she thinks she's in control, but then there's sometimes where it's like, no, you're like actually being an awful person to this person. You know what I mean? Like,
I think a lot of it though is the unbelievable like bullying and hate and like the T channels, right? It doesn't matter what Gabby does or says, she's always the bad guy. She's always the villain. You know what I mean? You can't monetize a video and be pro Gabby in any situation.
Do herself any justice.
True, I agree with that.
The way she like Yeah.
That's the thing. So in that way, I think she has the Ethan syndrome a little, where it's like, if you can't admit to one fault that you did.
That's what I'm saying. I don't think I've ever seen her one time be like, you know what? I was
sorry.
wrong.
Never.
Yeah. And when you have that many issues with that many different people, like,
Exactly.
when you're the common denominator, you're doing something wrong.
And so when people try to compare us, I'm like, well, at least I know and I can admit and I can be like, okay, yeah, that's kind of like fucked up. Like with our situation, like I was like, oh my God, I kind of went a little too far. Like that's kind of fucked up. And I stopped talking about it immediately. But if you can't, and I feel like you do admit, I mean, I think you're also kind of like those T channels though. Like you push, you know what I mean?
Of
You're
course.
the ultimate T channel. So in a way, it's like, it's just the internet. You know what I mean? You have to expect to be like, if you're going to put that out there, especially like Gabby, who like doesn't apologize for anything. I don't,
Well, I get called the male Trisha Paytas nonstop.
what?
Like I hear that all the time. Yeah.
Ew, I don't know I don't know.
Well, you're a troll. Like you're literally trolling. You're out there. You're talking shit to get a reaction, to get views, to get attention. Like in our private call, I mentioned that you're like the 2010 like YouTuber, and I'm always going to be that 2010 YouTuber. You know what I mean?
How long have you been on the internet, like doing videos?
15 years.
Long
Yeah. My
time.
first video was 2006. And I think I posted like at least every other day for 15 years.
Wow.
Yeah. I started when I was like 18 and I'm 33. Yeah. I mean, I do love it. And drama is like the only way to like get views for me. So it's kind of like what I'm stuck with. I'm like, all right, I'll just do this for a little while. But
It's
I don't
fucking
love it.
exhausting
It's
though,
exhausting.
isn't it? It's exhausting.
I disagree. I think it's fun. Like I think it's
yeah,
absolutely.
you're a fucking sociopath. You're a psycho.
1,000%. No, because you really
You're a
do.
sicko.
I get anxiety. I can't. You go after everybody. I try and pick and choose my battles. Like when we did talk about you, everyone thinks I'm a hypocrite because now I'm coming on here. But when I said I didn't want to talk about you, because like when we were on frenemies, like I felt like, oh, he's going to attack me for no reason. And I don't like drama for no reason. If there is an issue, like when you guys talked about me, I was like, you know what? This gives me like, okay, I can have it. Like, this is my chance to start drama. But like, if it's just for nothing for years ago, then it's like, I don't like to start unnecessary drama. Truly.
What do you think about like our past, right? Like you've done a bunch of horrible things in your past. I've done a bunch of horrible things in our past. And it always gets brought up in present day. Like, what do you think about that? Because I hear you shut that down. Like, oh, don't talk about my past. Don't talk about my past.
It's not that I say don't talk about it because it'll always get brought up. I don't like talking about other people's past. So when we bring up stuff from years ago, Ethan has shit from years ago. Everyone has shit from years ago. And even when we talked about you, I was thinking right away, I'm thinking of like the Tfue situation. I'm like, I'm going to weaponize this. But it's like, as soon as you weaponize like people's past, like Nikita Dragon and I got in a huge one on Twitter. So she started being like, you beat Moses because we have that whole issue, which I talk about. I don't shy away from it because there is a bruised picture of Moses. That's so fucking embarrassing, which Ethan brought to light, I was so pissed on Frenemies 1. I was like, no one was supposed to know about that. But it's a thing that's out there. I don't shy away from it, but it'll always be thrown back in my face. So I don't like to throw like things back in people's faces because like, it's just like you can grow from it. So when people do talk about things from like 2 years ago, 3, I'm like, okay, that's why I shut it down. I try not to talk about things from the past unless someone didn't get accountability. David Dobrik with obviously the R word, not allegations, but
I'm glad you brought that up.
Yeah.
Obviously, David got canceled big time, lost a lot. What is your mindset around like David now? Do you feel like, there was justice, there was a punishment? Like, could you see yourself ever being cool with David?
definitely not cool, but I'm always down to like talk to someone. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like I would go on Jeff Wittick's, I'd go on anyone's podcast because I like talking to people. But like with David and Jason, like took zero accountability. And I was there in those situations. Like, I know you were like, oh, these people lie or whatever. But like when I'm like there, I know what went down.
Well, David reached out to like Big Nick. He reached out to even Gabby, everyone, and like apologized for past action. Did he reach out to you?
No, did he do that?
He
Damn.
did. Yeah.
Damn. Yeah, no, he didn't. I mean, the stuff he did to me wasn't as much. It was more like tormenting when I asked him like not to put shit in the vlog and stuff like that. But yeah, I mean, they're gross. They have a lot of more bad karma coming their way, especially because they're running away from it and not taking accountability. So, especially Jason, like they didn't have to do anything with the Seth situation. Like he never even acknowledged it. Like I hate that. Like fucking just acknowledge it. And honestly, I would move forward.
Wait,
but when
what's
people
Seth's
don't,
situation?
The makeout prank.
Oh,
where
okay.
he like,
okay. Yeah.
like basically like sexually assaulted him because he like tricked him into thinking it was Karina and then like made out with him. And like Seth got a lot of heat. He went on podcasts being like, you know, and I don't know Seth, I don't know Big Nick, I don't know any of these people. So like when people are like, it's because of Trisha, I'm like, no, it's just he did a lot of shitty things to a lot of shitty people. So, and then no one they can just keep making vlogs. I can't stand them. I actually can't stand them because again, it's that situation where like they do nothing wrong. And that's where I'm at with Ethan right now. The fact that he can't admit that he did something wrong like publicly and I'm still getting all this hate about it. It's like annoying.
Yeah, but we talked about the past and like growing, right?
Yeah.
Don't you think they've grown a little bit? Like David, I mean, like that apology video I thought was really good. The second one, obviously, right?
I would say yes, but then Natalie and all his friends are like, he was just at the wrong place at the wrong. Like they still are saying that.
Don't you think it's worth mentioning too? Like David has acted as like a one-man army for so long. I would imagine protocol for like putting out content and creating content. He doesn't have a ton of people on his side like checking him. I would imagine he has a ton of yes men around. You know, his whole crew is fucking on his teat, so to speak.
Yeah.
And he fully supports all their lives. So it's like, and he's a young kid still. And I know that excuse only goes so far, but like, you know what I mean? Is it worth mentioning that? Is it possible that David just, you know, overlooked some things and fucked up in that sense by just not paying close enough attention to what's going on around him, and he can learn from that and grow from that and not make that mistake in the future?
Like, I would say, again, yes, but then there was, like, just a vlog, like, a couple weeks ago of him filming, like, Susie blacked out drunk in Vegas. And I'm like, didn't we learn to, like, not film people when they're blacked out drunk? You know what I mean? Like, he doesn't learn because he's still doing it. So I think it's just, it's one of those things. I totally agree, yes, but it's then if you don't change, then, like, what's the point?
Well, if that relationship between him and Susie is consensual and she's cool with being on camera drunk, is there an issue there?
Yeah, I mean, I guess you're right until it doesn't become like Seth, right? He was cool with it until he wasn't cool with it, you know? So I think it's something that he should look out for himself. Like, everyone's cool with it until it's like crosses the line or not cool.
The Seth situation's weird because he was on a podcast and he was saying like, I wasn't sure about it. I was uncomfortable. Then I asked my mom and my mom said it was funny. And so, hell yeah, give me clout, give me views. Like, he said these things. So it's hard to go back after he said those things and be like, look at him as a victim from my perspective.
Yeah, but I don't think you know you're a victim. Like, my teacher was having sex with me when I was 6 years old, and I thought I didn't think anything was wrong with it. And up until like, I still don't think, like, sometimes I like
6 or 16.
6.
Oh, that's awful.
And so I didn't know. Yeah, but like for me, I was like, oh, you know, it was like attention from like an older guy. Like, I thought it was kind of cool. And then you realize, like, oh, that's like some fucked up shit. But like, if you would have asked me, like, as a teenager, I was like, no, super cool. Like, actually, like, I didn't know it was sex at the time, right? You didn't know it was sex at the time. But then I was just like, oh no, that was like, I liked it, you know, whatever. And it's like, but a lesser version of that is when I was in David's vlogs and you think like, okay, it's fun, whatever. And then you just realize like you're looked at this way. Like, I got harassed by like a lot of David fans after like leaving the vlogs and calling me like a slut and all these things because David would be in the shower when me and Jason were having sex and just like all this crazy shit. At the time, you think you're cool with it. So you can change your mind, I feel. And I think it's important to like understand.
Where's that line though in changing your mind? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Because it kind of is unfair to the other party when it's like, for example, like the traditional example of like you sleep with a girl, and she's all about it, she's cool with it, you guys hang out a few times, down the road she's not fucking with you, doesn't really like you, kind of regrets sleeping with you. Yeah,
that's like a little bit different because for me, with like when you're with someone like David and you're getting all these views, there is like this thing where it's like if you don't do this stuff, you won't be in the vlog. So it's like a little bit different because it's a little more pressure.
I get it.
You know, and to that, it's like that's why I kind of put it back on David. Like, even if he is surrounded by yes man, like even now filming Susie drunk, yeah, maybe she's cool with it now, but he should be a little more aware that like in the future this could like bite him in the butt, or you know, just you know, common sense. But I don't know.
Trisha, I've heard you talk about like your views being low on your personal channel after Frenemies. Why do you think that is? I personally, my personal take is I think you need another person to collaborate with and to interact with. Like when you went on Tana's podcast, huge hit, right? I'm sure this is going to be a huge hit, right? When you're interacting with other people, it's huge, right? When you're by yourself, it's just like you ranting. Do you think what's happening in the future? Because like I feel like it's not necessarily Ethan. It could be anyone you collaborating with, you having a conversation with. I think people are really interested in that stuff.
Oh, well, thanks. Yeah, I totally agree. Well, I mean, my channel, I do Adam and Eve sponsorships like every other week, which kills my channel. So I know for sure, like, but I don't complain. Like, these were the same views I had on Frenemies. Like, basically, like my Adam and Eve would do like 30,000. Because I started a new channel, like all the views go like way up.
Does YouTube like silence that video?
Yeah, they don't show, okay. But then they don't show the rest of the video. So whatever, it doesn't matter. It always goes up and down with views. But I totally agree. If someone wants me on their podcast, let me know. I'll be a permanent co-host. Like, I love it. Like, I loved Frenemies. And honestly, like, what we talked about is, like, because I've sabotaged Frenemies, like, a few times, which was totally my fault, and we came back. But because it's, in my opinion, was Ethan's fault, like, that's why we didn't come back. And, like, it sucks, because I really did like Frenemies. Like, I was down to go the next day to film. He's like, will you film tomorrow after our big fight? I was like, yeah. And then that's when he told me, like, the crew wasn't comfortable, and then that's when I lost my shit, because I was like, he screenshot my shit.
I thought there was a time period where you and Ethan were, like, actually really good. And I was shocked by it because I was like, I never
couldn't
thought.
fucking believe it. I couldn't believe how patient he was with you.
Yeah.
Because he's such a dick in every other fucking
I
sense.
agree.
Like,
I saw a different side of him when we kind of like had this falling out because he did this whole 40-minute like hit piece on me of all of this. Like he brought up stuff on me calling Gila like the C word and stuff, like stuff that we got past. I was like, damn, he's really being like evil now. So I've seen both sides. So it really does suck. Like, yeah.
do you think it's unfair how much Ethan latches onto the past, how far he's willing to go in the sense of like bringing shit up and like shining light to people's worst parts when he's definitely not an angel by any means, when he's fucked up harder than just about anybody?
Well, dude, there was an episode of Frenemies where he was talking about, you know, he's come at me for like having horrible takes on mental health, which I 100% have. And I've only had to like learn and grow from this stuff because I really don't understand it. And I'm trying. But like in the same podcast, he makes these arguments against me for having bad takes on mental health. But then he says he wants to give an award to Gabby Hanna for the biggest mental breakdown. It's like, he's a walking, talking hypocrite.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, for sure. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that because I'm also a walking, talking hypocrite. I think, again, it's just the lack of like admitting that. Like, I feel like if you can admit it, because I 100%, like even me sitting here, people are like, she's so hypocritical, whatever. You know what I mean? But I don't think it is that either. I honestly think it's just like having discussion. But yeah, I totally do. And that's why it was kind of scary. It's like, you know, you do toe the line because there was really good that we did. You know, obviously a lot more people felt comfortable talking about David and stuff. But then, yeah, it's like also towing the line. When do you become just like an asshole? Like with you and Mike, I was like, when Mike called me, I was like, yeah, I'm kind of just being an asshole because I don't know these people. And so, yeah. And I get triggered because I mean, I am very mentally ill. So like I do get triggered. So like even that little comment, which I know you didn't finish, but like about me being fat, like that'll trigger me out of, like when you call me fat, I get triggered. I'm like, you're also fucking obese. You know, and then I lose my shit.
sorry.
Trisha, look at me though. I've lost weight. Look at this.
Yeah, he's a skinny legend.
No, you actually really are. Yeah. Like But I don't know why you look, I guess everyone looks heavier on maybe
No.
you sit.
He's had his little fat boy stages. I go through them too, but like he's skinny right now. Yeah.
You know what I did? I did keto for a while and lost it gradually, which was good. I'm glad I did that. But like recently I've just been like raging and just eating like once a day and you know.
Because you're happier in a new relationship
you're
now.
Yes.
She's right there. Look at it.
Oh, wait. Really? Wait.
Yeah.
She's not a child. Look.
Oh my gosh.
That's
She's a real
Jossie.
person.
How did that get blown? Okay, anyways, first
There's
of all.
no chains on her. She's not handcuffed to the couch. She's chilling.
Hi, nice to meet you. No. First of all, how did that change in a week from I'm not posting or I'm hooking up with other people?
Because you guys fed the beast. You guys gave him a reason to do it.
Dude, I'm happy for you.
Keem is always the guy who will lean in and fucking and just
as
go
soon
for
as
it.
as soon as you started like coming at me, right? I was like, I want the world to see my girlfriend. Like, I want them to respond. I want, you know what I mean? That's how I am.
Oh,
Be like,
wait, so you're like trolling with your girlfriend?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
I got her permission.
Okay. I think
It's consensual.
It's consensual.
No, it's not the issue of consensual. It's not. It's like it's one of those things where you like go through it, right? And like I've obviously like developed like mental illness and like psychosis from like my traumatic relationships. You kind of, I feel like it just gets triggered. And then when I like heard it, but it wasn't meant to be. Everyone's like, wow, like, you know, why are people so upset? It's not meant to be that. It was just more like I'm commenting on something and it got blown up.
We were speaking like locker room talk, right?
Yeah.
Because every time we do this show, it's like my real friend and we're just sitting here
shooting the
talking
shit,
like no one's listening. But you're right. Like people should criticize that. Like we were being a little gross. 100%. I get that. But like, as far as like the relationship as a whole, like, no, I'm happy. Like, I'm really, really happy.
But see, you changed because in the original one, my biggest issue, and this was my trigger from like older guys dating me, is like, do not post me, do not follow me, like all that stuff. And I was like, this seems like a red flag going from like full blown posting each other, which I love. I think that's everything. But when someone tries to like hide you, that's what happened to me. My first video, the first video you did about me was about Roger Bart. And I just wanted everyone to know that I was hooking up with this 55-year-old actor when I was like 22. And so then it became like, you know, toxic and stuff like that because he was trying to hide me. So that was like the trigger. I was like, oh, these people are going to turn. Just like Jason Nash's girlfriend who was 21. She like set up the Hollywood Fix so they could see, you know, them together.
She set that up?
Yeah. And
so
then
fucked up.
Is it though? She's 21. What do you expect? If you're 40, no, he's 48, by the way, fucking with the 21. What do you expect? Like, they're going to be immature. That's
she
21.
has no interest in the online stuff at all. Like, she really doesn't. It's like me. I'm like, oh, I want to post this picture. Is that cool? Like, that's me. Yeah.
And again, I don't think it's every relationship. I think it's like just my personal experience and people I know. But I mean, obviously, there's ones that do really well, and I hope it's forever.
Me too. I'm so happy.
I love you, Kim. I love you.
If you're, I mean, you know, I was happy in the relationships too until I wasn't.
Okay, people, listen to that.
It's finally here. Untold Stories, Top Moments from Worlds brings you closer than ever to the best players, top moments, and biggest events from all the past League of Legends World Championships. The rise of Faker, the origin of Silver Scrapes, the greatest match ever in Freak's Basement.
We've got all these stories and so much more.
Untold Stories, Top Moments from Worlds. Listen for free, exclusively on Spotify.
I am so happy right now that I literally reached out to Trisha. I'm like, let's make peace. Like,
Yeah. Well, I was kind of scared of you, honestly. So wait, so did you file the strike against Ethan's channel?
I did not.
You didn't?
This is what happened. All right. Ethan uploaded a video, I want to say like 6 months ago, and he had this Keemstar puppet doll. I'm sure you're familiar. You showed it before.
He was fucking it.
He was fucking the Keemstar puppet doll. And I'm like, in what world is this okay on YouTube?
Oh, Ethan fan.
Like, in what world is this okay on YouTube?
Right.
If you had like a Gabby Hanna doll and started fucking it,
Yeah.
your channel would go down. You
Right.
can't do that. So I mentioned it to my YouTube rep. I'm like, can you do this stuff on YouTube? And he's like, no, I don't think so. And so then it got age restricted. And I was like, okay, well, something for that, right? But that should have been a flag. Like, it didn't make sense.
I mean, Leafy's channel got completely deleted.
He's gone.
Yeah, yeah.
exact same- yeah, this
He
is
made
a
a
while
sexual
ago.
comment about Pokimane, and they
His
deleted
whole
his channel.
fucking channel got deleted
So
for
from
it,
my
yes.
perspective, I'm like, how is Ethan Klein doing all this wild shit? So recently,
Ooh, that's scary.
recently with, my new girlfriend and me versus you,
Yeah.
Ethan was commented on it, and he had somebody calling in pretending to be my girlfriend, and she's like, oh yeah, Keemstar's got a little dick. His dick doesn't work. And I'm just looking at that stuff, and I'm not mad, right? I
Yeah.
love to talk shit or whatever, but I'm just thinking to myself, I'm like, no one else on YouTube. Imagine if I uploaded a video and I was like, this female creator has a loose pussy. My channel would be gone.
Right.
It's just an unfair battle because you're not allowed to respond to the same
Yeah.
degree that Ethan fucking. You know
So
what I mean?
Right.
I didn't.
For so long he's played by a different set of rules, and it is a little bit
So
refreshing.
I
just in
got
that-
angry. I didn't flag him, but I like made a Twitter video like tagging Team YouTube, and I tagged Susan, the CEO of
Yeah,
YouTube.
I saw that.
And I was like, what the fuck? Like, what is going on here? Like, you can't do this shit. Why? If I respond in this same matter, my channel's gone. Like, I'm sick of it being like not balanced. And I deleted that Twitter video because I thought that was like over the top. And then they eventually took action against
So
them.
wait, how did you tweet them before? Because everyone's like, how did Keem know? Like, I'm genuinely curious. Like, how did you know before?
So Nicholas Diorio tweeted out that he was watching it and it got striked, and I saw it on Twitter. So I responded to that. And then Ethan responded, oh, Keemstar knows before me, so he obviously is talking with YouTube to get my shit done. But no, I seen it on Nicholas Diorio's Twitter. Anybody can look it up. He
So you
tweeted.
did
I mean,
not
think
flag.
about it. The second
No,
that
I
somebody
didn't flag.
finds out about this, they're gonna funnel it to Keem or Keem's people. You know what I mean? Like,
I mean, I
really thought
technically
you
did flag because I made a Twitter video tagging CEO.
You didn't report it though.
I didn't do it through YouTube, no.
Weird. That's
Yeah.
so. Well, that's also why I was like, let me just talk to Keem so he don't flag me, because that is.
I would never.
I don't like crossing the line with people either, because that is scary. I don't want my channel deleted. You know,
dude, more so than almost anybody on the internet, me and Keem are all about open discussion. You should be able to say whatever the fuck.
I'm
you
not
want.
about
agree,
I'm not
yeah.
about censorship, but I
Yeah.
was tweeting pictures of horses at Ethan, right? Just to mess with him, right? I no caption, nothing, just horses, all right? YouTube went to me and they were like, you can't do this anymore. You do this, we're like kicking
On
you
another
out of the
platform,
partnership
you know what
program
I'm saying?
on
Right.
Twitter.
It's like I said, it's an unfair fucking.
So
battle.
I'm like, I can't tweet pictures of horses, but he can sit here and say I got a little dick, start fucking Keemstar puppets and shit. It just made me mad at the imbalance because I'm like, I want to bully, I want to harass, I want to
my
fucking talk shit. I do.
Toxic, man.
I want to
It's
roast this
toxic.
guy, but I can't because YouTube won't let me. But he could say I got a little dick, fuck puppets. Like, what is this?
Right, and I think that is like the hypocrisy of Ethan.
Imagine if you were silenced by YouTube and you couldn't say
Yeah.
anything about Ethan, but he was just dunking on you, saying you're the reason why friend me. Like, you'd get so
But
frustrated.
then you make a video, respond, it gets strike down. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's weird.
No, totally agree. I agree. I mean, I think it's like gross when people do make fun of people's like looks or small penises or whatever. I don't like when people make fun of people's like aesthetic. But I'm telling you, that's how me and Ethan first met. He made a whole video calling me like a whale, like a corpse, like all this stuff, saying how like I photoshopped my pictures. So like he he did the same thing to me, so it is a little hypocritical. But I do think, that was a little much.
If me and you did that and we went after someone's looks, we'd get in trouble. Like, YouTube would be up our ass.
Why do you do that? Why do you go after their looks?
I mean, I don't know. I just like talking shit.
I just think like there's so much other things you can talk shit for.
Sure. True.
I mean, I don't know.
I don't do it often. Like, you can't really do it anymore. You can't like body shame or anything.
For good reason. I'm glad YouTube had a talking to.
It probably is for the best.
Yeah.
But I come from an era where like Xbox Live, like you're in there, you're saying horrible things to each other and it's fun. And we just can't do that anymore.
Yeah, but it's like not the 60s anymore. This
I
is
wish it was.
But the biggest point being if like we should all play by the same rules. You know what I'm saying?
Agreed. Yeah, totally agreed. That's why I always think it's like, that's why I think you guys should talk. I think you guys should like talk because when you guys talk it out.
But back in the day, like.
You'd ever do that? I would love to meet that man in person.
I think we should.
I would love to.
I met him in person. He was the nicest he could ever be to me, right? I went on his show. And this is how this is how the beef started with me and Ethan, right? It was 2017 or 2018. I was like the third person on the h3h3 podcast. I flew all the way to LA, went and did the show. Everything was amazing. Gila treated me great. Ethan treated me great.
Yeah. So
much fun. I left there thinking, I really fuck with these two, right? I get home to Buffalo and this snake motherfucker started getting hate because I'm on there and, I'm a controversial figure. So he leaves a comment. He goes, listen, I know some of you guys hate Keemstar. Don't worry. We hate him too. We just thought this would be entertaining. And that was a knife in my back. Like I just had this real interaction with you in real life. And now that I'm back in Buffalo, you're sitting here talking shit.
I think that's the biggest thing that I dislike about Ethan and just don't appreciate about him is he's constantly pandering to the audience.
Yeah.
His takes change with the fucking weather.
Yep.
Like this motherfucker, even just a couple years ago when he was fucking neck deep in iDubbbz's ass and wanted to be that edgy fucking dark humor like YouTuber. He wanted to be one of them. You know what I'm saying? This motherfucker's on his podcast dropping hard R's, fucking F words, homophobic, racist shit on his own platform. Proud of it. You know what I'm saying? Stoked on it. Like, yes, this is going to attract the fucking all the right shit. This is iDubbbz, me and iDubbbz against the world. You know what I mean? And now it's all about you know what I mean? Being responsible with what you fucking say and SJW and all this shit. And he's done a full 180. Yeah. And it's because that's the audience. That's like the mainstream, what mainstream people want to watch.
I mean, it's like people change. I try my hardest not to change, right? I try to be Keemstar, right? But even me, I have to calm down and tame things down because we get in trouble now. We can't do what we used to do back in the day. But Ethan's change has been so drastic. You haven't changed that much, right?
I feel like I've changed for I feel like I've changed for the better. I feel like I don't try and just troll mental health either. I don't try and make fun of people like I used to. I used to be Trump supporter and all this stuff like that. So I think I've changed for the better that way. But I don't know. Change is good, I think. I don't think change is the worst thing.
Change is great. Change is great. But authentic, organic change.
Yeah.
Just saying I changed.
Ethan's
you know what I mean?
change is plastic. It really feels and seems plastic.
I don't know.
Today, right now, if being racist, homophobic, all that shit was cool on the internet, Ethan would partake.
He definitely goes with what the audience says, which is so that's the worst part. I think that's what the end of Frenemies was because he got so much hate from that last episode. Because at first he's yeah, let's film tomorrow, let's do it. And then all the comments were Trisha's spoiled and title, all this stuff like that. And then he changed. So I do agree with that. I mean, he is really nice. So that's why I'm saying he could do this because I feel like he is a really nice person and he's smart. I don't know. That's
he's super smart.
I think he's intelligent
and
for
he's
sure.
Funny and stuff. So I don't know. I guess I think it's more he's scared because he cares so much about what the audience thinks. So to come on here, it would either he'd think it's hypocritical or he would just think that would show him in a bad light.
And I don't think he'd be willing to give up control because even you mentioned the Steven Crowder thing. I don't think that's
he's a bit of a control freak. He will not allow himself to be put in a situation where he's going to take an L. He never intended on actually having a conversation with Crowder.
Yeah, honestly, I thought this was going to be. I thought you were going to ambush me with Gabby or something. Honestly, because you're friends with her, so I was Gabby's going to be here and you're going to make me confront her.
Dude, imagine if Gabby was here.
I thought you were going to do that.
No, but listen. Imagine if Gabby was here and we posted a picture: FaZe Banks, Keemstar, Trisha, Gabby.
I'd bolt.
The internet would fucking break.
No, we wouldn't do that to
She's
you.
the only person who actually scares me. And I thought you might do that. I was like, wait, that's weird. He's being like too nice. And so I was like, this is like, it felt off.
We're
It felt
not awful, terrible people.
Yeah.
We're really not.
Well, I never had issue with you. I feel like there was nothing for me to say. And I would actually try to research when I thought I was going to go to like war with you guys. I'm like, let me research some bad shit about him. And I could only find stuff from like a while ago. But I was like, oh, I just feel kind of inauthentic because I don't have beef with you. So
Yeah.
you had said in a podcast, I remember once you said Trisha could just make up anything and people would believe it. But like I hold true to like I only share like facts with people. So that's why I was like, when I said that.
Well, highlighting things in a certain way and how you say, like, there is a way to dishonestly tell the truth.
Oh, frenemies
saying?
got.
How? Give me an example. I can understand it. if
I
you-
wish we had
Like-
examples, but so many
you have one off
times
the top of your head.
I don't.
No?
So many times in frenemies, I'm like, okay, he's telling this story, or you too,
Mm-hmm.
because you partaked in that, right? They're telling this story in a way that's giving this illusion that, like, you know, something else is happening when it's not.
Or something could be possible that like is just absolutely untrue. Like I think you guys made some kind of comment about like sexual assault and me and Mike and being wrapped up in some sort of
Okay, yeah.
controversy, which by the way, not true.
Yeah.
That's never ever happened.
Well, with the mic one, I had DMs from a girl that was like, and it, honestly, it's something I probably shouldn't have shared because they were private DMs. And like, honestly, I didn't want to like, and I sent him who it was. And he's like, she's a liar. She's this. And I was like, okay, but I know this. Anyways, not to say that, whatever. I really don't get involved with that. And then with your situation, everyone's like, oh, underage drinking. And it was the Tfue thing. And then I looked into it and I did feel bad because I don't know the story. I don't know the thing. So I was like, okay, now I'm like grasping for straws. So when it's a situation where I'm not 100%
And
on,
at the
I
end
do
of the
feel
day, just
bad.
for the record, Tfue and I and my company's thing was handled legally and
Yeah.
stuff, and we came out on top of that situation.
As soon as I said that, and then you guys made the rebuttal, Ethan the next day on H3 did post something like Trisha versus Keemstar or versus FaZe Banks and Mike. And I'm like, don't, because I'd already talked to Mike about it. And I'm like, please take me off that title and thumbnail because I don't want beef because I did misspeak on that situation. And then I felt really bad because like I do take pride in being like 100% sure of what I'm talking about. So because it was just gray and it was just something I didn't know anything about, I was like, okay, let me not talk about this. So,
I just think the amount of effort, I'll just use Ethan as the example, the amount of effort he'll put in and the length he's willing to go to like make an accusation or highlight a bad part of somebody. If he gets it wrong, he doesn't put an equal amount of effort in redeeming it or correcting it at all. And that was my first negative experience ever with Ethan was the fucking Jake Paul drama. I was guilty of nothing more than just dating Alyssa, Jake's ex, and he fucking, whether he or his group of people or the girl made up this elaborate fucking thing about me like physically assaulting his assistant, his female assistant. I'm sure you remember all that. It was a while ago.
Yeah, I don't
It kind
know
of
much.
sparked the whole like Clout Gang versus Team 10 thing, Jake Paul versus FaZe Banks thing. Fake bruises and shit, whatever. I went out of my way to fucking
Reach out to Ethan and be like, look, let me come on. Like, this
because
is.
I responded immediately, and
Yeah.
while Jake was on the podcast live, they were like ready to like show him hit 10 million subscribers, and his number just started fucking plummeting because I released my video with fucking receipts and proof and all that shit. I had the fucking club, the nightclub that this supposedly all happened at. I had them fucking for 24 hours follow me on security cameras. I was never even in arm's reach of this girl. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So he and Ethan is speaking live to his audience, matter of factly, like, oh, I can't believe he would do that. What a piece of shit. They're talking about it like it's fucking stone cold fact. I reach out to Ethan afterwards. I'm like, dude, whether you have me on the show, whether you fucking say it, your entire audience now thinks I'm a piece of shit, and I really need you to fucking fix it. And he responded like, well, I think you did a good job in responding. I think everybody knows that like you're not in the wrong. I'm like, well, dog, like
Not your audience, Ethan. Like,
not
I
out of
still
your
get so
mouth.
much hate from his audience. Like literally, it's not even that severe. That obviously those things, but like the stuff that he said saying I wanted to have the whole crew fired. I hang on to that so much because I would never say that's something I do. And I'm just like, oh, the fact that you don't correct this, and he did when we did that live, it just makes me. That's the only thing I hang on to. Otherwise, I just like want to get past it. I like want to be like cool with him personally, but it just.
I've reached out to Ethan twice on Twitter to make peace because our beef is so fucking deep, right? That it's exhausting, right? And I wanted to just stop it so many different fucking times. He's not interested. Like, he wants me deplatformed. That is his ultimate goal.
But do you think there's actual hate, or he likes the beef online? Like
no,
you guys
there's
are-
actual.
You think?
I sense a real like.
You
he's
know,
a
you
vindictive
should know.
I
motherfucker.
don't think there's hatred. I think he might like if he made a Keemstar puppet, right? He's wanting this back and forth, right? Because okay, for example, I'm terrified of Gabby. I don't like to make videos on her anymore. I'm obviously talking about her because she scares me, but like I wouldn't make a puppet about Gabby because like that's inviting crazy into my life. You know, what I mean?
Gabby's so misunderstood. I wish so bad that you guys would actually take the time to make peace. And
Well,
Gabby,
she could be showing you what she wants to show
Right.
you.
Well, Gabby-
She tell your boyfriend you had herpes, and my Jason was just like scared of me because he thought I had herpes, and I was like, bitch, I don't know you. I didn't know her. I was like, what? And then she lied on the podcast. She tried to make me believe I invited her to Thanksgiving when it didn't, and the next day she's like, oh yeah, that didn't happen. I'm like, why would you tell me
Gabby's
that happened?
biggest flaw is
She just needs to be
needing to
validated.
be proven right, like always in every situation,
I
right?
hate like talking about her. Like it gives me the heebie-jeebies.
Okay.
Sorry, I'm like really scared. I'm terrified of her.
Like she just needs to like drop some stuff and just make peace with people. And that's what we did. And I think you guys could do it at some point.
She has like a lot of delusions with the Jessie Smiles thing. Like she has a lot of delusions that she's just not cool with. You have to be like like our situation, to go back to us. I'll just put it back on me. It's like, yes, I was so wrong with like talking about FaZe and Mike. Like I was just definitely like reading headlines and not knowing the story. So I'm like wrong. And I admit it. I'm not going to be like, oh, but she like can't like, and she still is like, I don't know. It's like crazy. She's delusional. Like she makes up things. I mean, Moses was there she didn't release the full podcast, but she literally just made up shit like, oh, you shared poetry with me. The next day she's like, oh yeah, that never happened. Why are you saying all this stuff happened when it didn't? It's so scary. It's so scary to me.
I'm so sorry that we have to cut this short, but Richard has to go. But
Okay.
before
Yeah,
we
we're
go,
done.
can I please comment on these shoes? Are those custom?
Yeah.
They're amazing.
My
What-
Gerard way.
is that what that is?
Yeah, it's My Chemical Romance.
They look so fucking cool.
Thanks.
I love those.
All right, that was fast. Damn.
It was
Love it.
quick. Maybe we'll have you back on.
Yeah, for
Because
sure.
this was
We could go
surprisingly
forever.
pleasant.
Yeah.
I just want to say I'm more pro Ethan, but I like you too. You're okay.
Thank you,
Well,
Trisha.
The team I know. I don't know the one online. Just be nice.
I appreciate the apologies, and for what it's worth, I am sorry as well.
Oh, I feel like you really didn't do anything wrong.
And internet, I'm not going to be nice.
it's
You know
just-
this.
It's just that, like, when your name and Ethan's name pops in my head, it's like I'm
Triggered.
immediately on the defensive. No, I
Yeah.
wouldn't say triggered. Like, I'm not like scared, or it doesn't bring me anxiety or anything. It's just like, well, fuck them. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
they don't
yeah.
fuck with me. I don't fuck with them. You know what I mean?
For sure.
They take shots. I'm gonna take shots too.
Yeah, I feel like that's the internet.
And at the end of the
Don't
day,
strike.
the internet does get boring. So we see a video of Trisha starting some shit, or we see a Twitter video of Keemstar starting some shit. Like, I can admit it. Like, I have self-aware of everything.
Yeah, gotta stay relevant.
All right, guys, we don't have a comment section. This is obviously audio only on Spotify. For us to see your feedback and your comments, we ask you guys to tweet us. You can include Trisha in the tweets this week. We ask you guys to spam an emoji just so it kind of sticks out on Twitter. Let's do the teacup, maybe.
I love the teacup.
Yeah, we'll do the teacup emoji this week. Tweet me, Keem, Trisha on Twitter so we can see how you guys felt about the show. If you guys want another episode with Trisha, I'm feeling like that might.
We need one that we can actually go 2 hours.
Yeah, I'm down. If you guys want like a 2-hour special, we typically like to keep it under an hour, but who knows? If you're comfortable with it, we're comfortable with it. I think this was a nice little icebreaker.
Yeah. Thanks
Yeah.
for having
I love this. We'll see you next week, guys.
Peace out.
You can show